Well, I just looked at the list of our suggested
Yeah.
topics. Let's do happy wife, happy life.
Okay.
That's just such bullshit. Really?
Since we got you in here today, wife, what are your thoughts?
No,
How does that work out?
for me,
Yeah,
it doesn't. I don't think that's true.
Why?
The marriage doesn't work if only one person's happy.
that is
It-
correct.
To me, I feel like it would just, I don't know, it just creates a wedge or animosity.
Oh, before we start, we should probably do our little intro. Wife, you get to do it.
No,
Yep,
no, you're making me sit in this. You get to do it.
fine. All right. Welcome back to PolitiTalks, our few viewers that we have right now. Today, everybody kind of ran away and chose not to be with us. Turbo's got his son's 18th birthday party going on, and Kurt has to work. And then Zach is at some dealership trying to buy a car.
No haggle car dealership that he's been at for over 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we're probably just going to have a free open forum, discuss what we naturally flow through.
Yeah, so we'll bring up a topic and then end up talking about Pokemon.
Probably because there is a new Pokemon game coming out at the end of the year, and I'm excited about it.
You serious?
Yes,
Is
You get to eat
another
the
open
Pokemon?
world?
I've been into Pokemon. We discussed this last week.
I don't remember the new game thing. I said I wanted them to create a new game that you can eat the Pokemon.
Yeah, we talked about the Legends
Mhm.
Arceus that just came out. Arceus, Arceus, however you pronounce it, came out earlier this year.
I remember that. Then you were
She-
talking
She
about
played
what
it quite a bit.
yeah, you were saying that you guys like the MMORPG style, the open world style,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you would like to do more of that. And I was saying that I would like a game where you could eat them, where you could cut them up, cook them,
Yeah.
and eat them.
Yeah,
This seems so wrong.
Yeah, there's a new one coming out in, I think it was November. That's usually when they release the Pokemon games. Scarlet and Violet, I think. Whole new region, whole new Pokemon. It looks pretty cool from the little bit that I've seen of it. I'm trying to keep myself completely blind. I don't like going into a new Pokemon game knowing anything.
Nice. Scarlet sounds like it could be violent.
What?
He
Scarlet
said-
Violent?
sounds, yeah. Scarlet, violent, it's a chance.
Well, we'll end up having to buy 4 copies of it because I'm gonna get it, the wife's gonna get it, and both the kids are gonna get it.
I remember seeing this thing, and this guy was talking about Pokemon. He's like, so it's a game where we teach 12-year-olds they need to leave the house, grab animals, and make them fight each other.
Yeah, it's chicken fighting.
Yeah, it's child labor cockfighting.
What?
Yeah, basically.
Because they're all kids. They're all like 12 years old, right? You just boot them out of the house, go on an adventure by yourself at 12. You're an adult now.
Well, no, that's
So-
that's only in Johto or Kanto.
Okay.
Pilot Town, Red and Blue areas, because
If
everywhere
15
else the antagonist has been slightly older than 10.
Okay,
I
so
think.
like
And one of them,
15?
the antagonist was like, or was not the antagonist.
Protagonist.
Yeah, it was like 16 or 17. And I
Yeah.
think it was black and white.
the antagonist is always an adult who, has the Peter Pan complex, can never grow up, is still stuck on being a child and doing what their childhood dreams were.
Yeah. But let's move into an actual subject. Back to
All right.
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out that way.
No.
No.
And any guy that believes that, I think is setting himself up for failure.
Yep. I agree. You do need to make your wife happy, but you also need to be happy.
Yeah.
But a guy will stay in a marriage or relationship longer
Unhappy than a woman will.
unhappy than a
Yeah.
woman would.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go on that. That's
You quit staring at me.
it's interesting you would say that. Why do you think that is?
Because men are more apt to try and fix things, and they see themselves as the one that needs to fix it normally on average. At least, I mean, I do. I always try and fix our problems, what little problems that we do have.
We
I
very
mean,
rarely have
our
any.
marriage isn't something that you really should go off of, because we don't have the typical marriage. Like, we'll literally go through phases where we're sitting here yelling at each other. Whatever pissed us off for the day, we'll yell at each other for like 5 minutes, and then we'll be back to being happy. We get our issues out right then and there, and we don't hold it in.
So like an example was today, we went shopping at Walmart looking for a deep fryer, and I got super irritated out of nowhere. We had a small argument in the middle of the store, and then we were done.
All right.
Yeah. Like we go, it's, I don't know, it's
So
But
it's
the-
basically we say our piece, we get our argument over, and then we just let it go.
But
We
the
don't-
statement, a man stays in a relationship longer if he's unhappy than a woman would. I'm curious as to why you believe that. Like, what do you think? Well, what is it that you've seen that would make you believe that?
Oh, I've seen plenty of deadly women where men will stay with abusive partners because he feels like he can fix it, or he can change it, he can help her. And oftentimes she ends up turning on him and killing him.
a man will stay in a relationship longer because a man has a harder time. He can't just go out to the bar and pick up a woman as easy as a woman can go pick up a man. A man will sleep with anything, basically. He'll go with anyone. Whereas a woman will normally,
Be a bit more selective.
yeah, about their mates. Normally.
Plus, this day and age with this whole Me Too crap, it's really hard for a guy just to walk up to a woman in a bar and just start talking to her without her feeling like he's got an ulterior
And
motive.
it's going to get bad too if they keep going down the route with this abortion stuff, and they want to make it so that only rape and incest, there's going to be a lot more cases of rape or reported rape, whether it's true or not,
Yeah.
because a woman can get out of her abortion. All she got to do is say that, well, this guy raped me.
So the reason I was asking is because we're talking about relationships, not dating, right? And so typically in a
Mhm.
relationship, for me, when I think of a relationship, you're living with the person.
Yeah.
And usually, go ahead.
Huh?
I thought you were going to say something. Sorry.
No, I just clear my throat.
So usually when you're living together with somebody in the relationship, typically it's the man that makes more. I'm not saying that's right, but typically the man is more financially secure than the woman. The reason I'm saying that is because it's been my experience that women will stay with a man even though they're unhappy, mainly because they're financially insecure and they don't have a support system. So they have no other means than that person. They don't know where they wouldn't be able to afford a place to live and food and everything else without that support. So they're kind of stuck. Whereas a man wouldn't necessarily need that financial stability. So that's why I'm wondering,
I think that view is based on us being of a different generation, because I would have thought that same thing 10, 15 years ago. But like what she was saying with this whole Me Too and women empowerment thing that we're going through, women are becoming more dependent on themselves. So they don't need to stay with that man for that financial stability or security anymore.
if they have a job that can make them financially independent, yes, that still hasn't spread out statistically across the board. It's applied more to white women than anyone else for sure, but across the board, there's still a definite income gap between men and women, and men are still more financially secure than women are in general.
Mhm.
And when women and men are both financially secure and in relationships, they also tend to not have to fight over money. So the relationship tends to not be as combative.
Yeah, we've never fought over money.
I refuse to.
We've fought over not having enough money.
Well, that's
But it's not. But we've never fought over the fact that Like she wants to get something and we argue, or I want to get something and we argue.
Yeah.
Like, no, we've always, well, not always. We had a situation where we learned and everything changed, but for the past, I don't know, 10 years or so, we've been a lot better off where, yeah, we don't ever fight about money.
Even when we didn't have it and things were really, really tight, that was the one thing when we got married that I told him, I was like, the one thing I never want to do is fight over money. Whether we don't have whether or not we don't have it or we have to, I just don't want to fight about money ever, because I feel like it's something stupid to end your relationship over is money.
Correct, but
Yeah,
it's usually the number one reason relationships fall apart.
Yeah, I told her when we first got together, because I moved to Tennessee to live with her and work for her dad pretty early in our relationship. We'd only been known each other for what, like 6 months?
Well, 4 months.
3 or 4 months before I moved down to Tennessee from Ohio to work for her dad and moved in with them. And I told her from the beginning, it's like, I don't care what you do, my whole paycheck's yours, as long as every once in a while I get to, buy my new video game, or I get to do something for myself to keep myself entertained. Because I don't spend money.
He very rarely does.
Like last weekend when I bought some new clothes and some new shoes, that's the first time I've got tennis shoes from back when we first, like almost close to when we first got together. I don't buy new stuff.
Yeah, so he was freaking out about it. He's like, "Are we okay?" I'm like, "Yes, honey. All of our bills are paid. You needed a new pair of shoes. You've been looking for these pants."
I didn't need new shoes.
Yes, you did.
No.
Because he has a pair of boots that he wears everywhere.
But I can't wear shorts because I don't have tennis shoes.
So I was like, "You need a new pair of shoes." So it was funny that he was stressing out of, spending a little bit of money on himself that he hardly ever does.
We can't really judge our relationship as the average.
On a side note, yeah, it's a good thing that I don't live next to you or around you, because if we're friends and we live together, you're spending money. We're going shopping and we're doing some fun shit. I love spending money.
Don't get me wrong. I like going out shopping, but I don't like buying for myself.
Yeah. See, that's where we're different. I like buying for myself.
Yeah.
I love buying watches, shoes, shirts, not for anyone but me.
I mean,
my kids,
I like getting the stuff,
bit,
but I don't see the point in it.
Oh, it's because it's awesome.
No. Yes, it's awesome to get it, but I don't see the point in having all the stuff. I have 2 pairs of shoes, well, 3, I guess. My boots, now my new tennis shoes, which are made boots. Just like my boots. They're the same material and everything. And then my sandals. That's it.
Well, you should have a pair of house shoes you wear around the house.
Oh, he's got a pair of those. He cut a pair of boots up.
I cut my old boots that I replaced house shoes.
So you got a pair of house shoes. You should have a pair of sandals, right? See,
house
there
shoes.
You go. You should get a pair of sandals.
Have those.
Okay. You should have a pair of tennis shoes to work out in.
I do. Okay. I have those. Those are the shoes that I said I've had forever.
Okay. You should have a pair of dress shoes to wear with a suit.
Yep.
And you should have.
I do have dress shoes.
Okay. And so for that you need a pair of black shoes and you need a pair of tan shoes. And the reason why is
I have both.
Okay. And the reason why is because you're going to be having suits, and you should have a black suit, you should have a gray suit, you should have a navy suit, and you should have a khaki suit. At the very least, you should have those 4 colors in jackets. Then you should have gray, blue, and black slacks. And you can alternate the jackets to go with those. And then for the shirts, you're going to need to have a blue shirt. You're going to need to have a white shirt. You should have a black shirt. You should have a pink shirt. And then
I just saw a thing from Steve Harvey that he was talking about all this stuff not too long ago.
Yeah,
it's basically have 50 outfits with those because they're all mix and match.
Yeah, but then
never wear black with blue.
No. The blue goes with the gray. Blue and gray look great. You wear the pink with the black. The pink looks amazing with the black.
Pink goes with just about everything.
But with the black, for some reason, it really pops. The gray, depending on the shade of gray as well.
Yeah.
You light gray or dark gray, but like a medium gray doesn't really go that well.
Yeah, if you're wearing dark colors as your pants, you have to wear a bright color for a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wear a dark
Super
shirt.
Good.
But you can wear a dark jacket, but your your shirt has to be bright.
And then when you go into material, like a suit is going to cost you $800 to $1,000 for a suit, just for one of those. So if you got 4 or 5, you look at it $5,000 just there alone. Then we haven't even gotten into ties and tie bars and tie tacks haven't even approached that. I love tie bars. Do you know what a tie bar is?
No, I don't wear dress clothes.
So when you wear a tie, your tie flops around, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the tie.
Get a-
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
tie
we had
bar.
those when with my dress clothes for the military.
Clips, right? Tie bars are great, but you can't have normal tie bars, and you should have a tie bar that matches different outfits, right? So I have, I think, like 40 different tie bars at this
Oh,
point
Jesus
now.
Christ.
I had
I-
one. It was
I
gold.
love them. Well, I have one that is the Thundercats sword. I have He-Man's sword. I have the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts, right? And then I have a Christmas tree one. I got different holiday themed ones just to keep it different, keep it lively. But no, you
See-
got to do all that. Then you get the watches. You got to coordinate with your watches, right? So you can't just have one watch because a gold watch goes with certain outfits, but sometimes you want to switch it up and have a silver watch. So then you got to get a silver watch to match that as well.
See, my thing, if I was to wear suits and get into it, my thing would be the cufflinks.
Oh, so
That
then
would
you're
be my
looking at
thing.
so then you're looking at a French cuff shirt, which is more expensive than a typical button up,
Mhm.
right? So those shirts are great, but then cufflinks again are going to run you, a good pair of cufflinks, a couple $100, $300-$400 just for the cufflinks. And then the
Jesus.
shirt's going to
Because-
run you about 150
Because
to
my
200
suit
bucks
is
for
going to
the
be
shirt.
straight and fucking nice, professional, and then I'm gonna have that little tiny bit of my personality.
Yeah, and then so again, the suit is going to run you about $1,000. Then you get the
Mhm.
shirt; it's going to be another 150 to 200 bucks for the shirt. The shoes, and again, we talked about having two pairs of shoes, but for dress shoes, for nice dress shoes, they're 500 bucks and up. So you can get some Allen Edmonds. You can go if you really want to go. You can get some Louboutins. There's a whole bunch of different brands out there, but they're expensive. So I'm saying, I'm going to come visit, and we're going to spend money on you.
Oh,
For you.
here's the thing though. At the point that you're able to visit, that's when I'm going to be rich from GameStop. So I'm not going to fucking care.
They'll go
All
spend
right.
money.
It's like I'm like Neil. We got 10 grand to spend today.
Oh,
That's
that's
day
like,
one.
well, that's like an hour. That's like
Yeah.
an hour.
I mean, if we go to some
like-
of the stuff that you're talking about, yeah. But like when you guys come to visit, we're gonna have some money set aside. We're gonna do some stuff.
You know,
and I'd like to
hopefully
point
just
out, I am by
Montana.
no means
Texas.
rich.
Montana, because all the Californians are heading to Texas.
Just the
Not
Denver,
anymore.
or not Denver, freaking
Austin.
Austin. Yeah.
Yeah, but have you seen, man? So then I'll talk to Turbo about this because he's in Texas. But have you seen the property taxes? What they range in Texas depending on the county you live in?
Mm-mm.
And that's the thing that people that are moving from California to Texas are finding out quickly in a fucking hurry. It's stupid. Yeah, your nice ass house is only $350,000, and you sold your house here for $1.5 million. That's great, but you got to pay 20% a year on property taxes for that shit. So you're paying like 20 grand a year on property taxes. Whereas in California, on your $1.5 million home, you were paying probably 6,000. So property taxes in Texas are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, they're not too bad here in Ohio.
No. Yeah. Ohio's not bad. I think it was like 5%, I believe.
Yeah,
5 or
it's super
6%,
low.
somewhere there.
I think my grandma's paying maybe $200 to $300 a month on hers.
And the other thing too is like in California, we have Prop 13. Prop 13 protects you from your property taxes going up more than I think it's 1.5% per year based off your home value, because it's based off of your home value, right? But property values in California have shot way the fuck up. So you're pretty much locked into paying your property tax based off of what you bought your house for,
What?
not what its current value is for.
Yeah, we're moving to Montana.
She just looked up Montana's and it's between 0.83% and 1.07%.
There's a reason. There's like 7 people in Montana.
Exactly. That's why she wants to move out there. I want to move to like the middle of nowhere, Texas, because I want to get away from family.
Montana,
Okay,
it's a
so-
huge state.
So in Texas, well, hear me out on this, right? There's a property in, I'm going to call it the panhandle of Texas, the top part of Texas where no one fucking lives, right?
Yeah.
There's a property out there. I want to say it was one between 150 and 200 acres. It had a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,000 square foot home on it, along with a stable and all of that. Do you know how much all that was? Fucking 150 acres plus a 3,000 square foot 2-story home and a stable for 38 horses.
For how many horses?
38.
I'd say it has to be at least 300,000 or 400,000.
Yeah, it was $350,000.
Yeah, there was
From someone from California.
You're
That's
looking at a couple million for that.
okay. So to put that in perspective, I have a 1,400 square foot, 3 bedroom, 2 bath home on
Not anything
like
huge, but it's a big home.
it's a standard three bedroom, 4 bath,
Yeah.
3 bedroom, 2 bath home, right? On a property that's a little bit bigger than that. Like I have a little backyard and I have a little front yard, right? Not a big property. My house is valued at $450,000.
Do you
And
live
I'm
in
not
the
even,
city or outside the city?
I live in a city, but it's not even, it's not the city. Like the city is San Francisco or LA. A home like what I have in LA will run you about $750 to
Yeah.
$800,000 in
Fucking
LA,
ridiculous.
and it's going to run you around $800,000 in San Jose or San Francisco as well. So, from someone from California seeing that large of a house on that much property, you're looking at like 40, $50 million in California for that because the property alone, you're looking at 150 acres. It's fucking huge. You're looking at tens of millions of dollars in California, like 40, $50 million in California for that property alone. And then to throw on a house and stables, 350 grand. I'm surprised it's not sold already from someone from California who's like, well, fuck it, I want to live the ranch life now because that is cheap.
Yeah, there was the reason I want to go to move to Texas is because I found a house that was on
No, that's in
King.
no, that's in
Was that-
Montana.
Are you sure that was Montana?
Yes.
Whatever.
Did we fucking find it?
Either way, it was King of the Rock.
It was like King of the
Road.
Rock Way or something
So
like that.
and it's at the top of a little mountain. And then there's other little houses down, and the one I want is at the top. So I'm king of the hill.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna buy all the other houses, down the mountain there.
Of course. And then you're going to get a rock and roll it down.
Yep.
Watch it. Yeah, no, Montana was beautiful. We drove through Montana, but I've definitely had a feeling of like, when do I find civilization? Like it's, I don't know, it's crazy. It's also crazy coming from like I consider myself living in a fairly small city in California.
Mhm.
We have a population of roughly 300,000, and to me that's like medium, small to medium. But other states, that's like their capital,
Yeah. Let's
and
see.
that is odd to me too.
Yeah, where I'm at, it's only about 900,000.
That's a pretty big. It's a pretty big city.
Yeah.
See, and that's like, okay, so our state capital is Sacramento, and Sacramento I want to say is right around 900,000 as well. But then you got places like LA where you're looking at like over 10 million people in
Yeah.
LA. And San Francisco is again, we talked about it last time. It's a really small area. It's like 1 mile by 6 miles, so it's a very small area, but it packs in like 500,000 people. So
That's just
It's
way
crazy.
too many people. I want to move out to the middle of nowhere where I have to drive about half an hour to get to civilization.
see, I got to be inside some type of civilization. Like I got to be able to have the internet, work and not have to drive a half hour one way to go to get groceries.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Well, we're gonna have a freaking garden where we're growing all of our fruits and vegetables. So
My sister-in-law does that. She grows her vegetables, she grows her herbs, she raises chickens and quail for eggs and slaughter. And whoever can do that, I admire you. I can kill a chicken, but I ain't trying to raise nothing. I ain't trying to grow nothing.
well,
I'll kill it and eat it, but I ain't trying to grow it.
we've already got so many pets that it won't even bother us to have more.
Yeah. So that's why I want to move to Montana, because I want to start a ranch for draft horses.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I didn't say you had to do
I
it.
won't be.
But that's what I
won't be.
want.
I don't even know what a draft horse is.
The Budweiser horses, those are draft
Like
horses.
Clydesdales?
Yep.
Oh,
So they
nice.
call them draft because they used to pull beer carts or the big ass wagons that they would, that they used for like funerals or they basically heavy duty hauling. They'd need those big horses because they have a lot of stamina and they can pull that kind of weight. But they got Belgians, they've got Clydesdales, they got all kinds, but they're all huge. but they're such gentle horses and they're so just laid back and easygoing. They're not high strung like some of your regular like quarter horses or
She
Heard
can
those,
have all the
Paints.
horses. She can have at it. It's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I like eating animals. I don't like being around animals. So all my animals I like to have around me need to be dead. So, so yeah, we got way off topic. I don't even know what we were talking about now.
We were talking about happy wife, happy life, but
yeah, and it kind of segued into
Yeah, that segued out way out.
that's typical though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't really have a set thing that we need to talk about because it's just the three of us basically, but
It is.
she's a guest, so she don't matter.
you're such a dick.
I'm trying to bring up the list now so I can take a look at it too and see what else is on there. I think we already talked about the digital dollar, right? We talked about that in like our
Yeah, we
first
did.
episode, right?
I don't want to get too deep into a subject this week, I guess, because I mean we only have a couple people.
Yeah, that's true.
We
That's
kind of
fair.
just give our opinions on it, have a short episode
Yeah, that's fair.
just to catch up, basically.
Yeah. Oh, then why don't we just bring up what you brought up this morning in the Discord with the
Oh fuck, I don't even remember, man.
homeschooling is racist?
Oh yeah,
Oh god,
yeah, that was
you need to explain that some more. He mentioned
Yeah,
that this morning. I
that-
was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah. I read more into the article. I posted it in there
Okay.
because I got it from
Yeah.
it popped up in my notifications this morning. And apparently, as you know, they're on this Christian hate kick. Christian, which I mean, I don't care what they hate because I'm not Christian. I'm not religious whatsoever.
Specifically, evangelical Christians, yes.
Yeah, that's what this one's basically about.
Mhm.
And apparently, there's on this kick with wanting to homeschool, and then they're trying to base it off of or turn that into they don't want them to be in school with the blacks and the Mexicans and the other.
So it's based off a documentary that's coming out, right?
Is there one coming out?
Yeah, and that's what the article is based off of. And it talks about the push for homeschool right after the banning of segregation
Mhm.
by the evangelicals, right? Pushed for they obviously like segregation when it got overturned. And I am a horrible person for remembering the law. But yeah, when it was overturned, they pushed then for teaching from home, homeschooling. With the pandemic and people having to be forced to do it to some degree, they've seen a rise in it again. And I didn't look at that article. I read the article, and I don't see it as just a evangelical Christian thing. What I found, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I actually found it kind of funny. After the first year, people did start going to homeschooling their children, but they were going to homeschool sites that weren't accredited, which is a problem, right? If you're going to school your child, you should make sure the schooling you're using is accredited. And the curriculum they were downloading and pushing was racist. It was from a racist website. It was written by the Klan, and it pushed a very white power narrative. And so that unfortunately got pushed out a lot in the Midwest and the South.
Yeah.
And it took them a few weeks, I want to say almost a month before they realized what was actually being taught. And they had to do a pushback on it. And the main pushback from the schools was like, well, we gave you a list of credited sites and you chose to go find your own because you knew better, and that's on you.
Yeah.
And I would actually agree with that because, again, that is on you. You're the one that chose the curriculum. You should have actually researched it a bit better. So it is out there. I don't know if it's necessarily
there's racism in every
push, right? I don't know if so. I don't know if I buy that it's a push from the right now, that it's a push from the evangelical right, but it definitely did happen in the 60s when they ended segregation. So I can see why they would want to tie it in to now without, because the article is fairly short, without seeing the documentary and looking at the evidence they're providing. I don't know. There might be more substantial evidence that does show that it is more racist push, I'd be interested to see. But it's
No,
kind
I
of
don't think it's racist. I think it was just an attention grabber trying to rile up the masses is all it was. Like it is, it's an opinion piece. I just thought it was funny. That's why I posted it. Because I was upstairs doing something when I saw it, and I came downstairs like, honey, homeschooling's racist now. Can't do that anymore. I always make fun of the shit when it comes up because, as I told you in the chat, my opinions, they're just my viewpoints are my viewpoints. I don't really care what other people do.
I did piggybacking off of that to another article that I saw that I thought was hilarious, because Florida is now in the process of banning books in schools, right?
Yeah.
Based off of certain criteria. And then they did list the criteria, right? And so there was one person who said, okay, I understand why you don't want these books because they meet this criteria in the schools. So he has petitioned to have the Bible banned from the school because the Bible has everything that
meets those
criteria.
I mean, I don't think the Bible itself should be banned. I think they should teach about all of the religions.
I think that's
they should teach it in mythology class.
I think that's more something you would take in a college course. I don't really see the
maybe
need
late
for it.
High school.
And but to that point, I don't like the idea of banning books in general, because I think if a child on their own time wants to pursue knowledge, you should let them, because speaking from experience of myself and my own children, my son ain't trying to read a book. He'd rather go outside and play or go on Roblox. You know what I mean? So if you do have a child that likes to read, congratulations. And I don't want to inhibit that child from that chance
I was that kid.
to learn. Wanted to read?
Yeah.
I
wasn't. That's because you can't read.
I hated reading until I got into high school. Then I picked up reading. But when I was like elementary school, middle school, I did not give a shit about a book. I was like, man, this makes my head muscle hurt, so I'm cool.
Dude, I've been reading books since I was in elementary school.
Yeah, nah.
I've been having it here recently because I got Audible now, but
and I think that's
too.
That's actually just as good as reading a book. Studies have found that it's just as good as reading a book. You get just as much from it, so that's fine.
I feel like I get more from it because when I read a book, I have a super overactive imagination. Like if I'm focused like 100% into when I'm reading or when I'm listening to, I don't see the world around me. I see the world that I'm reading or listening to. So, and it's a lot more like that when I'm listening to it. Like there's times when, because I listen to it when I'm driving.
Nice.
I feel like there's times where I leave a location when I get done fixing the printer, and then I arrive at the next one. I don't remember the trip in between.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's cool.
If I think about it, I remember the whole trip, and I remember watching for the cars and but.
Yeah, I mean, most of the books I've listened to on audiobook were comedies, so it's not really taken like that, but I can definitely see it. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to read a book or listen to a book, I think it's great. And I don't want to, again, stop a child from doing that, because, again, if the child's trying to, on their own, reach out and learn something, that child's also more than likely going to go and talk to someone about it and get some clarification if they have questions. So they're already smart. Why try and prevent them from being smarter?
But what are the books that they're banning, or what's the criteria that if the book falls under, it's not allowed?
Well, there was banning from every side. They were wanting to ban it. This was back a while, like a year or so ago. I think they started banning Huckleberry Finn, all the classic
because of the language.
Yeah, because of language.
Oh my God!
But now they're starting to ban any book that has any kind of thing that relates to or looks similar to CRT,
which isn't taught in elementary or high school.
No,
it's not higher education, and it's based for law specifically. So it's kind of interesting that they're using that's not even taught.
But if it's not taught, why does it matter if they ban it? That's the argument. That's the
reason. And the reason it matters is because they're using that as a cover for banning books that make people uncomfortable. And that's really what it boils down to. Because I forgot I have the Florida law, not the Texas law. The Texas law is the one that makes people, if it makes you uncomfortable, and it's ambiguous, so it doesn't matter what race you are, but if it makes you uncomfortable, you cannot discuss it. So again, slavery is a hot topic because it makes people uncomfortable. And who does it make uncomfortable? Typically, it makes white people uncomfortable because we're talking about owning and
Never
purchasing and
bothered
owning
me.
black people. So, but
I mean,
that
I
can
don't.
be
They're
it
still
can be
teaching
discussed.
slavery, teaching about it though. I don't know why.
Well, it just passed. So the question is, from this next school year, how is it going to look in that state? I don't know the answer to that. I really don't.
Well, what does that do for
Um,
history class? I mean, that's whether it
History is
makes people
already,
uncomfortable or not, it's still a part of our country's history.
yeah,
And
but I mean,
to ignore history is to then let it repeat itself. So
correct.
if you
And
acknowledge that it happened and say, yeah, it was shitty, but had that not happened, would we be here today? Probably not.
I agree. If you ignore history, it's going to repeat itself. But there's a difference between teaching what actually happened and whitewashing it. And our history right now tends to whitewash a lot of things, like the Louisiana Purchase. The one thing that's not usually taught in high school is that Texas is the only state to try to secede from two different nations or countries. Right? It was Mexico. Americans went to Mexico. Mexico
Mhm.
banned slavery and said you can't have
You're not
slaves here. And
teaching
they
that.
said
I learned
no.
that in school.
No, that's not how it's taught. It's taught the Alamo was a great battle that the Americans defended themselves, even though they were the people that were in a different country going and breaking the law. But
I was taught that in school.
that's not how it's taught now in school.
Wow.
It's taught that we were being attacked, we defended ourselves, and then they were killed, and then we went through and we marched down, and then we fought it, even though it wasn't really purchased. It was more of a strong arm tactic, right? So, I mean, Texas seceded from Mexico and then tried to secede from America. So that is one distinction they do have,
Yeah.
which is pretty interesting. But again, that's not really taught. It's more glossed over that we were the assholes in that scenario to begin with.
Yeah, I think if they're going to teach history, they need to teach actual history. Yeah, not sugarcoat shit. If we were the bad person, then they need to say, hey, we fucked up and we did something that we.
Well, being the bad person is all about perspective because, to Gary, our British friend, remember Gary?
Oh yeah.
We are the bad guys.
Oh yeah.
Every time Independence Day came out, he'd always say, what did he say? Something about
happy happy Revulsion Day or happy some
Trader Day.
Trader Day, yeah. Happy Trader Day, because he's from England. And so basically he's like, you guys are traitors, you turned on your own country.
So being bad is all in the perspective of what side you were on.
Yeah.
Most certainly, and the winning side gets to write the narrative, right? And that's what's happened. The pushback to that is now that we have the internet and we're more of a global society as opposed to a nationalist society, the pushback that is, yes, you did win, but there was a lot that's glanced over and not acknowledged, and you should at least acknowledge it. And I would agree with that. It's fine to put in that, yes, we did some despicable things. You know, when you look at the railways, how the railroads were built, right? There was a lot of dead people buried along those tracks, right? That's just how our country was built. Our country was built off of killing people. Doesn't make it right, but we can at least acknowledge that
most
that
societies
happened.
have been built.
Mm-hmm.
Is off the
Humans
backs
are
of the workers.
mm-hmm. Humans are violent by nature.
Yeah. So speaking of humans are violent by nature, there is a theory that I saw the other day that Earth is not our natural planet. Because do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's we're a prison planet.
Say what now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can't remember where it was that I saw it, but basically, we as our race, we were placed here on Earth because we have to adapt to every location we go to. The sun hurts us. We're allergic to basically everything in the air. And because we're so aggressive as a race, because we're always at war, we were one of the dominant races in the universe, but we lost the war. So they took everything that was left of our society and placed us here, which kind of matches up with all of the different religions' stories. The Garden of Eden and all the other ones, where as kind of like the game of telephone, as the history goes on, it changes slightly. So
And also, it does create itself to evolution because again, we have to evolve to meet the demands of the planet that we're
Mhm.
inhabiting that
Yep.
is hostile to us. The planet is hostile to us. Everything here kills us,
Mhm.
right?
Everything.
Water, we will drown in water. The air, depending on where you're at, will kill you. If it's too thin or it's too oxygenated, it has to be the right mixture
Mhm.
of it. Um, the cold will kill you. You'll freeze to death. You'll burn to death. If you get too much sun, you're going to die. It's just when you look at it, Earth is not the ideal place for humans to live. So I have seen that theory. They also like to piggyback on that with artifacts from history. So there's, and I'm going to butcher the societies they're from, so I apologize to anyone
That usually
watching.
happens when we're not prepared.
Right.
When people abandon us.
There's a glyph from the Romans where it looks like he's looking at a laptop. There's
Yep.
a glyph from the Egyptians where they appear to be looking at a tablet and wearing a watch.
There was one that looked like they were holding a phone. I
yeah,
can't remember which one that was.
and there was
There's
one,
even
and
where they made a light bulb. It's called the Baghdad battery. And they found a lot of them.
yeah, and then there's one, and the I'm gonna say Sumerian, but I know that's wrong because it started with a T. It looks like they're dropping a bomb. It has the same shape with the fins of an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
The next clip next to it has an explosion, and
Yep.
this is from thousands of years ago. So using that, it looks like we recycle ourselves, and our civilization recycles itself, and that we're brought here as, like you said, a prison planet. It's interesting.
Have you watched the show called Ancient Aliens? And I love this show because I think it was the Aztecs, but I could have it wrong, but it's one of the South American countries. There is a carving of one of their rulers that looks like he is literally sitting in a rocket ship. He's got an oxygen mask on. You see the flames coming out of the back. He's got his hands on controls. Like the dude is in a rocket. And this is from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me
it
at all
makes
if they were
sense.
transplanted here.
Yeah,
Even if we weren't-
it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So the Ancient Aliens, I like watching it as I watch it as like fun. I don't put too much credence into it. I do find it interesting, but I know a lot of it's kind of a lot of it's kind of you're grasping at too many straws. It's definitely a conspiracy theory for a reason, right? You can't really. There's nothing to link the two. So there's causation doesn't justify equal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I there's that missing link to make it real, but it's definitely interesting. And since I believe aliens are out there, I think it's rather chauvinistic and egocentric to believe aliens don't exist in some form.
Yeah.
Right. There should be some form of alien life somewhere in the universe, considering how large it is. Yeah, I do think it's interesting. I don't know if I believe it, but I definitely find things like that interesting. So I
I
watch them.
do think it's how religion, to me, I do believe it's how religion was started because they gave an example of our military coming across this very remote island, and this remote island was inhabited. Now, these people had never seen airplanes before, had never seen any of that. Well, they ended up dropping food supplies off at this island because they were going to use it as kind of like a temporary base, like a stopping point for our military. These people formed a religion around it because they honestly believed that our pilots and our planes, they were gods because it's something that they had never experienced before. So I wouldn't put it
for sure.
past the ancients seeing ancient aliens and thinking, okay, this is my god, and forming religions around it.
Well, technology sufficiently advanced enough is indistinguishable from magic. So
yeah, and it's not that they were dumb. They didn't have.
No, was it Cortez that came over and conquered the Aztecs? Was Cortez, right?
It was Cortez.
But he rode on horses. He had domesticated horses. They didn't have horses in that part of Mexico, so that was new to them. He had armor and more advanced military weapons, right? And he was white, which was something they had never seen. And he matched the description of what they believed was a god. And so they thought he was a god incarnate. So if you already have a belief of a higher being and of something else magical coming, and then you see something that even vaguely matches what you were talking about, oh, most certainly, you're definitely going to get that.
So I have, that, so I believe that in some way that's how religion evolved. And
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna
I
I'm gonna go with the prison planet thing. That's my belief system.
The prison planet is hilarious. I don't know, religion is always a fun topic to talk about. I studied it for a little bit when I was in college, the different religions, Western religions specifically. I never got into Eastern religions, but religion in general is a very interesting thing to talk about, just the concept of it and the idea of it.
That's
But
something that we need to discuss when everybody's here because both
yeah,
Zach and Turbo are super
are very
religious.
religious. And so I wasn't going to really dive into it. I was just going to segue into this. I will say, because I'm not religious, but my wife is. My wife is Catholic.
What's wrong
And
with her?
so
my
for
dad
us
might real
to,
bad Catholic.
right. And so for us to get married in the Catholic Church, right, we had to go through a few steps. One of the things we had to do was we had to go to a marriage counseling. Before you get married, you have to go to marriage classes, right? And through the Catholic Church. And I have to say, I would highly recommend anyone who wants to get married to do that. And I am not religious in any way, shape, or form,
Why?
but it wasn't based in religion, because it wasn't based in religion. It was based in you getting to know the person you're about to get married to on a deeper level and watching other couples in there, along with my wife and I, and how a lot of the questions that were asked, they had never asked each other. Like, how much debt do you have right now? Because when you get married, your debt is their debt. And how much debt are you willing to take on when you get married? So, looking at your husband or your soon to be husband or wife now, will it change your mind if you know that they have $150,000 in student loan debt
Oh hell
and
yeah,
that
because
you'll
that shit's gonna take
probably
forever to pay off.
never going to be able to buy a house because of that? Right. So, things like that. Do you have any idea for a retirement plan? What are your financials actually like? Let's break down and get your financial situation in order. What do you spend your money on and where is it going? Because when you get married, those combine. And are you going to have enough to meet everything? How many kids do you want? Because that's important. Some people only want
None.
one or two. Some people want a ton, right? But these are things. And what they did is they split it, right? All the men went to one room, all the women went in the other room, and you all answer these questions, but you answer them separately, and then you come together and you're like, oh shit, we're really not on the same page. And then you have to have a discussion. Like, okay, well, this is how many kids I want. This is how many kids you want. Like, there was one couple, the guy wanted like 6 or more kids. Like, he wanted a huge family, and she wanted no more than 2. There's a huge fucking gap, right? You guys have to have a long discussion about that. Like who's really going to make the compromise on that, and is it something you can even compromise on? But if you do it after you're married, it's kind of a fucked up situation because you're already married, right? That is definitely a discussion you should be having prior to getting married.
Oh, we didn't have any of those
We didn't have any of
discussions.
that.
So, right.
But we don't have a typical relationship either.
No.
So I really got a lot from it. I really liked it. I will say the last one was primarily praying and doing a sermon, which I found rather boring because again, I'm not religious, so I didn't really care about the last class. But it was 5 classes out of 6 that I got a lot from. I really enjoyed that. And so the one aspect from that religion I can definitely take away is I really like that class because it takes a more a systematic approach to marriage. It looks at it as it is a union, but it's a union you both are equal in, and you need to know where you each stand. And I don't think a lot of couples, especially in their first marriage, do that. And I think we benefited from it. At least I definitely benefited from it a lot by
Why do
doing
you
that.
look so angry, Beth?
I don't know. I got my resting bitch face on.
So that's all I was going to go with the marriage thing. For the religion thing, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, speaking of marriage, I mean, I think all of us have the same view on gay marriage. And so,
To each their own.
yeah, we don't really have to discuss that, but we might want to because I don't think we've discussed it yet on any of our podcasts.
We did discuss it, and we discussed it with both Zach and Turbo.
Oh, that's
and
right. I remember they were against
said,
it. It was one of our first episodes.
only because, yeah, and they were only against it because of the terminology saying marriage, and it went back into religion, which is why I was like, well, basically, you just got to suck it up then. Like, if your only issue is semantics because it's marriage is originally based in religion, well, too bad. It's not based in religion anymore. So deal with it. And they did not like that answer at all.
I mean, I'm fine with
So.
them using if they want to switch it to it like what's the term that they use for a legal marriage rather than a religious marriage?
I can't civil union.
Civil union.
It's a civil union, but that would mean the only way you could get married is in a church through a religion, and everything else would be a civil union for it to be truly equal.
Yeah, that's what.
So that means
Well, we weren't married. in a
all,
we weren't
church.
married in a church.
no, but you're married, right? You would no longer be married. You would have a civil union.
Yeah,
So everybody's title would change. And that's one, it's way too much money to spend because you'd have to have everyone's documentation redone. Nobody's going to spend time doing that. You know how much money the government would have to spend in reissuing civil union licenses because marriage licenses would be null and void because
Well,
marriage
what they
would be
could do is just
only in a
grandfather those
religion.
people in without really having to issue a new license. Just anybody married after this certain time is
you get the
not
new style of marriage
just-
license.
yeah,
And it's called the civil union license.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which I mean, I'm fine with just having a civil union. I don't care about the religious aspects of a marriage.
Well, religion has been taken away from the term marriage now.
And I
No,
mean, I'm
it
I'm
has
fine with
been.
that too, but
So that's why to me, you can't own it. Just because it was
Yeah.
originally based in a religion doesn't mean you own it.
just
Yeah.
like
There's
our
a lot of
country's
things.
originally based on Christianity, but it's not
Well,
that way anymore.
Yeah, it was based on Quaker, right?
Yeah.
The Quakers fleeing for prosecution, and the whole actual base of it was fleeing from prosecution to have whatever faith you wanted.
Yeah.
And that's how we still are, which is why we don't have a national religion. So, which is why I always find it funny when people want to pass laws based in religion are the
Well,
same people
a
that
lot of our stuff does reference God, like the "In God We Trust" and all that. That's
Which-
why people say it's based on Christianity, because a lot of our stuff is taken from Christianity.
but we don't have an official religion, right? Just like we don't have an official language. English
And
is
we
not our
shouldn't.
national language. But the reason
That's
I'm
what
saying
she
that is
threw a fit
because
about at
Yeah,
Walmart.
that's what I-
She got super pissed.
I was super pissed. I'm like, turn
because
that box.
she made me turn a box around because I think it was in Spanish.
Spanish.
She's like, turn it around, I can't read it. I was like, so I turn it around. She's like, they need to stop printing that stuff. I was like, honey,
Like, we're in America. Our
America's the
primary
great-
language is English.
it was like America. It didn't. It was in
Fucking
English on the
learn
other side.
English.
But
I was so
Spanish,
mad.
Spanish is the second most spoken language in the United States. So they're going to
Correct.
have that printed on a large
Yes, but-
majority of the stuff.
and over half of the country was Mexico
Yeah.
prior to the Louisiana Purchase. So, and those people didn't just leave, right? They stayed here and continued to speak Spanish. So yeah,
She got
Spanish
super
is
pissed.
That was so.
and-
That was what we argued about in Walmart.
And I told her, I was like, honey, you need to calm down. It's not that serious. It's like, here's the English side. Just read that.
yeah. And again, because
What's
we
the
don't
reason
have
why oh, go ahead. You finish.
Go ahead.
I said the reason why they do things like this because again, we don't have a national language, right? English is not our national language. And from a business perspective, you want to reach as many consumers as you possibly can to sell your product. So you're going to have it in as many languages as possible. Like when you go to IKEA, which is Swedish
Swedish.
company, and you buy something and the instructions come in like 15 different languages because they want to get it to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I guess it irritated me because I'm thinking, well, if I go to, say I want to move to Italy,
She's racist.
I am not. If I wanted to move to Italy, say I moved to Italy, I'm not going to make them start speaking English because that's what I speak. I'm going to learn the language of the country I'm moving to. I'm not going to make them change their ways just to suit me.
A lot of them do learn it, but they don't know it right away.
It's just
It
irritating. It just
takes
pissed me
a
off.
very long time to learn a different language. But the reason I'm laughing at the statement is because France in particular, but Italy as well. A lot of countries, in fact, when you travel to other countries, do not like Americans.
No, they don't.
Do you know why though?
Because
they were
we're arrogant, and
We-
Americans think they're better than everyone else on average.
That has a little bit to do with it, but the majority of the reason is because, like you said, we don't learn the language. We expect them to speak to us in our language because Americans traveling assume everyone knows English because everyone wants to come to America. So when we go to France, when we go to Italy, we are saying, how can I get here? Where am I going there? We're not learning or speaking or even attempting to say it in French or Italian or German or any other language. And
Which
they
is
get
fucking dumb.
tired. Exactly.
Yeah.
They get really frustrated. It's like, you're in our country talking to us, at least attempt, have a book out or Google Translate or something trying.
So that's what I would do. I would have Google Translate up and out so that I could communicate to them like, hey, how do I get to, this street or that, wherever. Yeah, I'm not going to just assume that they can speak English. I'm in their country. When in Rome,
Yeah, but
You know.
it's just it's funny you say that because again, most Americans when they travel don't try to learn the language, and
Assholes.
it pisses and it gives Americans a bad name. So
It
that's why that's
does.
like the main reason I wanted to get a Canadian passport, just so I could say that I was from Canada, because they're viewed more favorably around the world. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I remember going to Mexico with my wife and looking at the passports before I showed the guy the passport. He thought I was Canadian. I was like, yeah, we'll go with that. We'll just go with being Canadian. But once they found out I was from America, they wanted to sell me Coke. I was like, I am not trying to do cocaine, man. Like, I get it, but it's because I'm from America. That means I'm trying to party.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes along with what she just said. They expect us. Sorry, I was sidetracked. I don't even know what you guys were just talking about. I was trying
Americans
to
in
help
other
someone.
countries.
I was
The
trying to
other-
help someone with 3D printing stuff on the Discord.
But basically, the other countries hate us because when we go to their country, we assume that they can speak English. We don't
Yeah.
even try to attempt. To
But then
speak
they
their
expect us to learn their language. So it kind of fits in with what she was getting mad about. We
If
expect you
you're-
to learn English, but we also expect them to learn English when we go to their countries.
language. I don't.
Yeah, but
If
the
I'm in their
reason
country, I'm going to speak their language.
the only pushback I'll give that though is it's not someone actually speaking the language; it's a company selling a product.
Yeah.
So, and then again, from a company, from I don't know what you were trying to buy, but a lot of things,
A deep fryer.
okay, but a lot of things when they sell it, they'll put different languages on it because they're manufacturing it in Thailand, but it's going to America, Mexico, Canada, Germany, and they don't know where it's going to. So it's got to have all languages on the whatever
Yeah.
side at all times.
I
He
understand that.
knew that.
I
was
understood
just
that.
Irritated, like,
But she's
fuck.
I'm still trying to break the racism out of her.
I'm
It's
not
been 15
racist.
years. She says some things that I have to like, whoa, calm it down a bit. There was one she came
Don't-
home from she went up to
Steak and
Steak
Shake.
and Shake one time.
Oh my
And
God.
this woman was right up on her ass or something in the
Okay,
park.
I'll tell the story.
Go ahead, tell the story.
So I went to Steak and Shake because he said, hey, on your way home, stop there and get me something to eat. I was like, okay. Sitting in the drive-through, I pull up behind this car and they're at the window. They've already paid for their food. They're waiting for the food to come out. They got their food and they went to pull away. So I started scooting up. Well, apparently they realized they were missing something in their order and stopped where their window was just past the drive-through window. There was a little bit of space between our cars, so I let her back up a little bit. But by this time, there's now cars lined up behind me, and they're pretty close to my bumper. Well, she started rolling back. She got extremely close to my car, and I just tapped. I didn't lay on my horn. I just tapped it, letting her know, hey, you can't back up anymore. Apparently, this pissed her off because her friend stuck her head out the passenger side window and was screaming at me, she needs to back up. I'm like, do you not see all these cars behind me? I cannot back up anymore. Well, this, I guess, apparently pissed her off. Well, they finally got whatever it was they were missing. They drove off. So then I pulled up to the window, was talking to the lady at the window. Next thing I know, this bitch threw her fucking milkshake
She's
at
getting
my
pissed
car.
now just telling the story.
Threw her milkshake at my car and drove away. Like I'm the only person in the fucking drive-through lane and I'm just being a bitch and not letting her back up. Like you could have pulled up and gotten out of the fucking car.
She came home
Oh my God.
and I'm sitting there in the living room playing the Xbox as usual. She comes like, honey, get me a freaking bowl of water, hot water. We got to wash my car. So like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what the fuck? What? So she opens the door, says that, and then slams the door. Like, what the fuck's going on? So I get the big freaking bowl or mixing bowl, fill it with hot water, take it out. And she's like, this fucking bitch threw a fucking ice cream cone or milkshake at my car. And here's the part where I wanted to get to. And guess what color her skin was? And she's yelling this outside.
I was outside.
And I'm like, honey, shut the fuck up. I was like, I don't care if you want to be racist, but I don't want to have to beat someone up right now because they're going to get in your face.
I was so fucking mad because I'm like, what person in their right mind?
Like I said,
oh my God, I was so
angry,
fucking mad.
when she's angry, she says some things that are a little bit.
But I would not normally say, but I was just fucking mad. Like, I was beyond furious. I even called the cops and filed a police report and everything.
She was being super racist that day.
Oh, just
I had to yell at her.
Trashy bitch in her fucking car
And
threw her fucking milkshake at my car for no goddamn reason. other than she couldn't back up anymore.
I have to correct her
Oh.
sometimes. It's bad.
You made her waste. I don't know how much a milkshake costs.
Like
so
$2.
It was like $2.50 because it was a
There you go.
large one.
They're only $2.50. I didn't. Oh, first off,
they-
I've never heard of a steak and shake. Second off, I need a $2.50 milkshake.
Steak and Shake's a Ohio thing, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like their burgers are still less than $5 for the burger. They're like $2.53, and they're fucking amazing, dude. They're the what are the ones where they smash them like
Steak
smash?
is a steak burger.
Smash burgers. I love smash burgers. Smash burgers are what
Yeah,
I.
they're
love.
like smash burger with the style how thin they are, but they're much. Well, I mean, smash burger's pretty good.
I've never had a steak or a steak and shake, so I'll have to go.
Do you
the
have
reason
those
I'm
over there in
laughing?
California?
No,
I say,
we got In and Out.
because I don't remember seeing them when I was there.
Mm-mm.
No, we got In and Out, and so I'm gonna have to figure out where I can go try. Cause I'm curious. But I'm also like, damn, it's fucking cheap. I went to In and Out today. My son worked for it. He wanted to go In and Out for his prize after doing the reading challenge. And so I got myself, my wife, and him. We each got a cheeseburger. We each got a thing of fries, and we each got a chocolate shake.
Mhm.
$38.
Nuh-uh.
Seriously?
Yeah.
God damn. That's usually how much a meal costs for
four people.
Here.
It was 3 burgers, 3 fries, and 3 shakes.
How do you survive, man?
It's expensive, man. Like it's
I mean, we
expensive.
lived in California and it was expensive, but
Not that
We
fucking
lived-
expensive.
It's
it
getting
wasn't
worse.
that expensive. But, I mean, we were also on base, so
Cost of living is going through the roof in California, which is why people are moving to Ohio and Texas.
that's not
and
the only
Tennessee.
reason. That's not the only reason. That's the main reason.
What do you think the other reason is?
Well, the Democrat policies is what they're hating on, even though they're really not as bad as they're making them out to be.
So the reason I find that funny is because that's primarily the main reason we want. Well, not we, because I do not want to, but they keep pushing to separate the state. I surprisingly live in a very Republican city.
You'd be
in a
surprised
very
how
Republican
Republican,
county.
like California has more Republicans than any other state
Uh-huh.
just because of pure size.
Well, how do
Exactly.
they get all the Democratic votes then? If
Because we
Yeah,
have
because
even
of the
more
cities.
Democrats. We have even
Because
more
of the cities.
Democrats. So again, there's 10 million people in LA alone, right? I mean, let me Google the population of California.
Yeah, most cities, once they reach the population density, start to lean more Democrat.
So California has a population of 39.35 million. So 39,350,000 people live in California. Compared to all of Canada, which is 38 million people in all of Canada. Florida has
California's got a huge
21 million.
population.
We have our GDP for California is the 4th largest in the world.
Compared to countries.
Compared to countries, California's GDP is larger than most countries. So yeah, that's why we stay Democrat.
So then why doesn't California secede from that side of the states and just make itself its own country?
There's actually been talk
Fuck
about that too.
California.
That would be horrible. You know, that would actually hurt. You know how many states that would actually hurt though? Like
A lot of them.
negatively impact. That
Yeah.
would negatively impact any of the poorer states that tend to be in the southern Midwest,
Mhm.
like Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas.
Well,
When you
fuck
look
them
at
too. They're a bunch of fucking.
when you look at the number of how much they pay in taxes versus how much they get back from federal government assistance.
Well, that's where a lot of farming is done, isn't it? Yeah.
I thought it was done in like your state, like Ohio.
Ohio
and shit
does a
like
lot
that.
of farming too. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's where a lot of our revenue comes from, is the farming.
But when you look at like Mississippi and Alabama in particular, they for every dollar they give in, I have to look at the stat again because I know I'm going to get it wrong.
Those are big
But I want to
farms.
say it was like $1.50 or $1.80 they get back in government assistance.
Yeah.
Whereas like California, for every dollar we give, we get like 70 cents back. You know, so we actually give more than we take when it comes to assistance and aid back from the state. It's
Mhm.
so removing California from that equation would hurt a lot of other states that rely
It would
on that
eventually
money.
level off and we'd be fine. We don't need California. We don't need it.
Ironically, Texas wants to do that, and I still think that's hilarious. They still keep
Texas
talking
always
about-
wants to secede.
from everybody. Like they really want to be their own country. And,
That's just who they are as Texans.
yeah, that I just never understood that. Never understood that. I find that interesting.
No, if anybody else is arrogant, I'd say it's Texans.
Texans are too nice. They're way too nice. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, we had a conversation about people being nice before, and Neil is just a fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's about where it boils down to. So, with the thing with Texas and people being nice, I was in Texas and I went into the bathroom as people do when you're in a state and you have to pee. And while I was going pee, some dude's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Hey, shut the fuck up."
She yells at me too because she can't have a conversation in the bathroom.
What the fuck you doing, man? Like you just don't talk to people when you're in the bathroom. Like
Yeah.
there's an unwritten code.
No, there's
etiquette
not. No, there is not. The code is you don't stand next to someone.
Uh-huh.
You can have a conversation with someone 3 or 4 stalls down.
Yeah, don't
No.
let him talk. He'd have conversations in boot camp with the guy in the stall
but
across
you
from
can't
him.
really use me as an example either because when we were in boot camp and basically any military multi-stall room, they don't have the fucking doors. Like when I was at boot camp, we had 6 toilets. They were 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 across from each other. No stall doors. So we were literally sitting in those stalls, and we'd have at night when we were prepping for bed, we'd have everybody in those stalls, and then we'd have guys just leaning against the stall in the stall with the other person taking a poop, and we just all be in there having conversations,
Just chatting away
Just
while
chatting.
taking a shit.
Like one guy was sitting there, he was doing his paperwork and stuff while he was on the toilet, and he had people were sitting on the floor leaning back against the stall, the wall door. Like, dude, there is no privacy in the military.
And no shame.
So I guess you can't really use me as an example as
No, because
having conversations in the bathroom.
And again, coming from someone from California, where you mind your own fucking business, people you see some shit on the side. If you want to like watch and eat popcorn, cool, but you don't get involved or say shit. No. That gets you shot. You shut the fuck up, keep your head down, and move on.
How's it get you shot? California took everybody's guns.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, no, you just mind your own business, keep your head down, do it. If you want to say hi every now and again, that's cool, but especially not in the toilet, man. That's just that's not where you talk to people. And so I'm sitting there and everyone's fucking hella nice in Texas. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. I'm not used to everybody saying hi to me. That's kind of odd. 1 or 2, fine. But literally everybody saying hi is kind of fucking fishy. Why are you so nice? What are you hiding? Now I'm getting suspicious because if you're this nice, you're probably hiding somebody. There's probably some people buried under your fucking
Dude, you need to get
bedroom
the
or
hell
some
out of
shit.
California.
Right. And then you go in there and try and take a leak and people are talking to you. No. Now something's really fucking weird, man. Like you're hiding some shit. If you're this nice, people that are that nice are like, John Wayne Gacy, right? That motherfucker was hella nice, was a fucking party clown and shit. That motherfucker was hiding bodies. So yeah, no.
Speaking of unwritten rules, I had to teach her something about guys. Let's see if it works the same for you. So when you're walking out in public and you make eye contact with another guy that you don't know, how do you nod to him? You do up. That's the opposite of what it's.
You do down?
You do down to nod towards someone you don't know. Say, hey, what's up? When it's someone you know, it's up. Because it's friendlier. Whereas down is,
I don't know you, but I acknowledge you.
I see you. But I'm still going to be on the offensive or the defensive, because just in case. Because when you're getting into a stance to protect yourself, you don't open up, you pull in, so you look down.
Right. But for me, from out here, it's always what's up, but just with your head back, like side-eyed type thing, like what the fuck, I don't know.
That's opening yourself up for a freaking chop to the neck.
If you're gonna fight, but typically, again, people in California just walk up. Okay, have you ever seen a fight in California? First off, have you ever seen people in California fight like on the street?
No.
It's fucking hilarious.
What are you talking about?
It happens all the time, but it's fucking hilarious because they don't just walk up and start punching, right? They walk and be like, "You got a fucking problem? You got a problem? What's up?" They put their hands out, they got their chest up, they got their head back, and
Which
they're
is fucking
chest.
stupid. Why do you open yourself up like this?
So again, every fight I've seen in California and been in California, it starts that way. So again, I'm not really worried about someone just walking up and going, because that doesn't happen in California, right?
What was this?
Knife hands.
It's knife hand. Okay.
Okay, whatever. Again, it doesn't happen in California. Like it just doesn't happen. People don't walk up and like just start bombing. They start up. They're like, "What's up? You got a problem?" You know, they start sizing you up and shit, and you know you're gonna get into a fight because people start sizing you up. They take a step back. They look you up and down. They're throwing their hands up. It's a whole show. You get a whole full-on show.
I've never
before
understood
you
that. If I'm getting
get
into a fight, I'm not getting into that. I'm going to try and make myself bigger. I'm going to get into that fighting stance and will say, "Are we doing this?"
Correct, but that goes back. It goes back to like instincts, right? So when you look at animals, why do animals make themselves larger?
Because if they're bigger, that scares them.
It scares the less the more dominant of the or the less dominant of the two away.
And what do you not have to do then? Fight.
Yeah.
They don't really want
We're not-
to fight, but
But
you
we
don't want to
have
look.
to go off of our instincts. We're
What's the-
intelligent creatures.
I understand, but what it boils down to is the person doesn't really want to fight. Nobody really wants to fight.
No,
What they
because you
want
get
to
your
do
ass
is
beat.
they don't want to look like a punk, so they gotta make a show about it. So they're not going out like a punk and hope that the person backs down. And so the crazier person who acts crazier, puts on a bigger show, tends to be the person who
The
wins
easiest way
because the
to win
person
a
will just walk
fight.
away.
The easiest way to win a fight is just get naked.
Because nobody wants to fight a naked guy.
Wow. If you got some baby oil, you know.
That's a different kind of fighting there, Neil. We're not cockfighting.
That would be funny as shit, though.
That would be fucking
You would
hilarious.
say that as a woman.
I would definitely get the popcorn ready.
So, but yeah, so that's why, yeah, for pretty much everybody, for me anyway, I do the heads up like, hey, what's up?
But the few fights that because I've never actually been in a full-on fight other than when I was in the military, we did our sparring. But I've always, what the heck was that?
Oh, wow.
Something just popped outside our window. I've always gotten into that, into that stance and made myself less. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't even
Make
know.
yourself into a profile, you're harder to
target.
hit.
A smaller
Yeah.
target,
Mhm.
and my voice would lower. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I made myself more dominant sounding and looking because like I'm going to get into a fight. I'm not going to have myself open. And for me, it makes it look like we're going to do this anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm ready for the fight. I'm going to get into the fight. So I guess
I've
guess that's scary for people.
It is because again, most people don't want to fight and they've never been in a fight. I have been in a few fights, but I used to bounce at bars a lot.
What's going on out there?
So
Oh,
nice.
sorry.
So, I mean-
The neighbor's grandkid is hitting the AC unit, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know. So the wife's gonna go
Nice.
get her. I guess the woman behind us is a friend of her mother's. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
But-
I've always I don't want to get into a fight. And like I said, I've never been into an actual fight with someone because I've always, I guess, scared them off. The few
I've been in a
fights I've
fight
was when I was in
but
training.
I've been in fights, but again, it was always because I was like bouncing at a bar and shit. And so,
Yeah. Well, you
Well, there
can't
was one
avoid them
time-
there.
yeah, there was one time I got in fights in high school too, but that doesn't really count as high school fights. But
Not
they were
even in
funny
high
as
school. I've
shit.
never got into a fight. I've always been able to scare the person off or whatever. But
Ah,
I mean, only fights I've ever been in was when I was in training. I've never actually had to use the skills.
remember there was one kid in high school that used to like fuck with me all the time. Because I was a hella big nerd in high school back when it was not cool to be a nerd. And he would like fuck with me all the time. And then he like walked up and hit me in the back of the head with a book when I was in the library. And so,
Dude, that would piss me off.
so I got up and I slammed his head onto the desk and then I beat him with a chair in the library and got suspended. So,
Your butt's on camera. Careful.
but yeah, I've been in a few fights, but most of them like that weren't in high school were because I was working in a bar. And those are fucking funny stories for another time. They're just
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. Those drunk people are hella funny. So yeah.
I almost got into a fight one time. This was when I was a lot younger. I think I was in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. And dude just came out of nowhere, was walking home, started yelling at me for something, and then just kind of socked me in the chin. It's like I Like, I don't know if he pulled his punch and just wanted to scare me, because it didn't even hurt at all. And then I dropped my bag. I got in the fight. I was like, why the fuck did you just hit me? Because I don't want to get into the fight.
Did you know this person?
Yeah. And let me tell the story
Oh,
here.
all right.
Shut up. So I was like, why the fuck did you just fucking hit me? And I'm in that stance. And he's like, well, okay, we're just going to do this. I was like, dude, I'm not going to fucking fight you. I will if I have to. But I really don't want to, dude. I have no issues with you. Come to find out 2-3 days later that his buddy had told him, like, I bet you won't go hit Brian in the face. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I ended up making friends with the guy that hit me. We ended up being friends later on.
Who was it?
You've never met him.
Oh.
But I just thought it was freaking, I was like, it surprised me.
Yeah.
And I was in that, that's probably why I didn't actually get into the fight, because I was more surprised, because I wasn't friends with the guy originally, but we didn't hate each other. We talked. We were friendly. So it was kind of, I think that's why I didn't get to the fight at that point, because I was more surprised than anything.
Was that your first time being punched in the face?
Yeah.
The reason why is I've been punched in the face many, many times. And it reminds me of Mike Tyson's quote. You remember the Mike Tyson quote?
He's got so many quotes, man.
Everyone thinks they're ready to fight until they get punched in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I laugh, because it's, if you've never been punched in the face, the first time is a wake-up call, because everyone I've ever talked to about their first time getting punched in the face, their first reaction is like, what the fuck just happened? Like, did I really just get punched in the face? Like, it's hard to fathom the fact that especially when you're not expecting it. It just out of nowhere, boom, you're like, that really happened. That can't be real. Like, that wasn't really what just the fuck happened. So it's a really interesting experience.
That was probably the first time that I realized, like, yeah, I probably should start watching people, because he walked over, started talking to me, and then right to the face.
People are
Hit me in the
people are
chin,
horrible.
right there.
Oh, it's the sweet spot too. So
See, I think guys are lucky, because the first fight I ever got into was a girl on the bus. I was in elementary school. Yeah, she kept hitting me with her book, and I told her to quit. And she wouldn't quit. So I'm like, all right, fine. We're going to settle this when we get off the bus. And at the time, I was taking Taekwondo. And I was literally just going to fight her. But
how long did you take these classes? Because you can't fight worth shit.
Oh, honey, I was little. It was only like 6 months. But
because we fight.
Yeah, right.
That's how we solve our problem. We just right in the face.
But she went immediately to hair pulling, and that pissed me off more than anything. It doesn't, like, it, at the time I was, I had long hair, so I wasn't tender headed or anything. I'm like, yank away, bitch. It ain't gonna do anything. But why? I don't understand why women immediately go to hair pulling.
I remember I was working at a bar, and there was 2 girls fighting, so we had to break up the fight between the 2 girls, and they were holding each other's hair and slapping, right? And so we break up the fight, and so I have one of the girls in front of me, and she just full on kicks me straight in the groin. I was like, oh, I can't hit you because that's wrong, but I want to beat the fuck out of you. So I'm like, you need to knock that shit off quick and in a hurry and calm the fuck down. And so she did it again. And so I grabbed her by her face and I picked her up and held her against the wall by her face. And I have never seen anyone calm down so quick. So, yeah.
Your palm must have hit all the pressure
the
points.
thing is, it's not that you just calm her down. It's like she probably realized, like, this guy can probably eat me.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've been in one fight where I had a guy pick me up, and I was instantly like, all right, I'm good, man. I don't want to fight you no more. Because it's something when someone's so big they can just pick you up and make you feel like a child. You don't want to fight them anymore.
Yeah,
like it's just over. That we're done. I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry for even messing with you. And so yeah, I think that's what happened. Like she was by her face, just held her by her face, just stop. Her feet are dangling.
I'm waiting for the day that my oldest tries to fight me. I'm waiting for it. It's gonna be so fun.
I don't think that'll happen. I really don't.
No, he's
my son never fights me.
Huh?
hope my son never fights me. I hope he never fights me. I don't ever want to fight my son. I just
Well, it's not that I want to fight him. It's just that it's going to get to the point. I'm hoping it's after he's 18, because at that point I can actually stop him.
Mhm.
But it's going to be more of a, are you really wanting to do this, bud?
Mhm.
Because I'm going to put you on the ground. I'm not going to hurt him, but I'm going to put you on the ground and I'm going to make you feel like a little girl. And then I'm going to sit and fart on your face.
Right. It's always a power thing, right? Because it's
Yeah.
all about like who has the power. I'll never forget the first time my dad realized that I was my dad wasn't that tall, so I was taller than him when I was like 14, but I was stronger than him when he lost in an arm wrestling match, and that was like a dynamic shift in our relationship, right?
Yep.
Because it was like,
See, that's why I started going to the gym.
it was like, oh shit, okay, because now he could always easily just beat me in arm wrestling, and he would always arm wrestle me for the last cupcake or whatever, and then when he couldn't, he was like, oh damn, all right, well, something's changed, and he's
Yeah, 'cause
actually
that's what made me start going to the working out again. Because Zane said he wanted to go to the gym because he wanted to be stronger than me. I was like, nope, sorry, not happening, bud.
Yep.
Like, I will always be stronger than you.
And like my brothers are way older than me. They were 14 and 16 when I was born. So they're much older than me, and they went through the military, and they'd always beat the shit out of me until I hit 15. And then because my brothers are 5'8" and 5'10", and I'm 6'4". And so 15, 16, I hit 6'4", and I was 250 pounds. They were like, never mind anymore. And that's when it changed. So it's like, all right,
So how tall are you?
6'4".
6'4"?
Yeah.
You're pretty tall.
Yeah, I'm fat as fuck now though. So, but yeah,
Because most guys fluctuate an inch or two. So I'm anywhere between that 5'10" and a half to 6 foot mark. And then with boots, I'm just over 6 foot. So
yeah. If you want to get technical, I'm 6'3 3/4".
yeah.
I'm not quite 6'4". I just round up to 6'4".
But yeah, that's what most guys do. It rounds up. It makes it a lot easier.
Mhm.
But no one wants to round down.
I know. My wife, let's make sure I tell everyone she's 5'3 and a half. 5'3". She's 5'3 and a half. I'm like, okay. That half inch is important. So like, all right.
Don't make it dirty.
I wasn't. She just, because she swears she's not short. Because I always say she's short, and she's like, I'm not short. I'm 5'3 and a half. I'm
Well,
tall. I'm like, okay.
The reason that I know exactly what my height is now, because I haven't paid attention to it forever. I've always just said I'm right around 6 foot, because I judge myself with other people who said that they're 6 foot. And Zane, my oldest, he was telling Beth that she was short. And I was like, go get the freaking tape measure. We got out the tape measure, and he's like, I'm taller than you too, Dad. So I made him measure himself. And nope, he's an inch shorter than me. He got so mad.
Nice.
But she's only like 5'4".
5'4".
Yeah.
And then when she found out, because I was like 5'10" and a half. And she's like, I thought you were 6 foot. I was like, yeah. It's late in the day. You shrink over the day because your spine compresses. You're always taller in the morning. The next morning is like when I was in the military, whenever we did our stuff for, seeing our height and weight and stuff, we would always do it first thing in the morning as soon as we got there.
Oh, so maybe I'm actually like 5'5" just throughout the day, because towards the evening I was 5'4".
Possibly.
Yeah, you weigh less in the morning and you're taller in the morning. Oh. All right. I gotta go get ready for dinner now.
Yep. And my brother's been texting me wanting me to get back on Elden Ring. So
all right. Thank you
guys.
guys.
Conversation. Hopefully
it.
we can get everybody. Yeah. I think we still got one more weekend before everybody has to be out.
Yeah, next weekend everyone should be here, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. We got to get Con in, but I don't think he's going to. He's so far set in his ways that there's not going to be any conversation. And I'd like to get him in here so we can try and lead him down the path of acceptance for everybody else's views, because he's even worse than you as a socialist.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you're not bad, but
I would like to get him in here just because I would like to have a different viewpoint as well. That's I laugh because sometimes I feel like I'm on Fox and Friends, like, because everyone tends to be more conservative, and I'm the lone liberal. And so I was like, hey, I feel like what's the guy on the Fox and Friends? There's like the one, like,
I don't know. I don't watch the news stuff.
And so that's why I think it's kind of funny. I don't mind. I do enjoy it, and I like it, but I would like to get a differing viewpoint, and specifically his, only because I think with his interactions, he brings a unique dynamic and perspective on things. And so I would like to hear his point on different
Yeah,
subjects. And a lot
he's
is lost
kinda
in
like
text.
Kurt, but leftist, whereas Kurt's a rightist.
Yeah.
He's a
But a lot-
conservative, super like doesn't want to listen to anybody else's opinions.
But like having Kurt on was really nice because I got to talk to Kurt and actually hear him articulate himself.
Mhm.
A lot is lost in text, right?
Yep.
97% of our communication is nonverbal, and not having any of the facial features, the fluctuation in voices, what he puts emphasis on, the words he emphasizes,
Mhm.
all of that matters when you're talking to somebody. And having none of that and just going off of text is great to an extent, but I would like to have all of it. And so I would really like to get him on just to get that perspective, even if it's just once.
And I think if he saw you guys face to
Yeah, I
face, he
think-
might not
yeah.
be so intense.
Yeah, he's very antagonistic, Khan is, or at least it comes across that way to me. But
See, I don't get-
I think it's right. If he actually got face to face, put a face to the personality, he might
not
be
be-
as aggressive with his.
See, I don't get antagonistic from that. I get exacerbated. I feel like he's just exhausted and exasperated with everything and just throwing it out there. It can be dismissive, but I don't think it's necessarily antagonistic. And that's just what I got from it. So it's
Well-
interesting, though, that everyone sees text differently, which is, again,
Mhm.
why I would really like to have the talking, because it narrows it down.
Well, my view of his antagonism comes from before you were part of the Discord,
Right.
and he was very insulting and aggressive with being hateful towards myself, and Kurt was kind of deserving of it because he was the same way.
I can see that.
Kurt's gotten a lot better though.
That's
Like when
good.
he first joined, he was very antagonistic. Kurt was bad. But and Khan's not as bad as he was back when we first started the channel, the Discord PolitiTalks channel. So
Yeah.
but yeah, my view of his antagonism comes from those first few months. I like Khan. I do.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and he's probably going to do well in life because of what he's doing in college, what he's going through in college.
Right.
But he needs to calm it down a bit.
But it's that perspective I would really like to get on.
Oh
here
yeah, I
and
definitely want to
hear.
get his perspective on here
So-
because I do appreciate his perspective and how what's the term? I can't even, my brain's not working right now. He's very dead set in his ways, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to work with him and see if I can get him on here at least for one episode.
Hopefully during the socialism episode,
That would be great.
because then everybody will be here.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that episode until everyone's here for sure.
For sure.
So, but all right,
All right.
let's, go ahead and close it out. Thanks for
Yep.
watching, guys. Neil, it was good talking to you, and well, actually talking to you rather than typing. It's
Right.
nice. It's always a good time. And
Exactly.
then, wife, thanks for joining us again.
You're welcome.
You'll be here for the socialism episode as well.
Say what?
You don't have a choice.
If I'm not working,
Oh, you won't be working.
if I have to go to work.
Nope, not happening. Because
All right.
now I know that if you're saying that because
No,
You're gonna
I'll be
pretend.
honest. If I'm
So,
not working,
Neil,
I'll be on.
we're gonna go argue.
All right. Have a good
I'll
one.
see you later.